Hey everybody, I'm Jason Walker. I'm CEO of Waypoint Robotics. We make an autonomous industrial strength mobile robot, and the key differentiator for our system is ease of use. Little context, this is a pivotal time for manufacturers in America. There is unprecedented demand for their products. Simultaneously, there is an unprecedentedly tight labor market, and there's pressures from globalization. So the need to automate is existential. They have to automate if they want to survive. So this is the gold rush. Everybody realizes that's the situation. There are a lot of robotics companies who are making robots, and a lot of companies that are trying to implement them. We think the problem with robots all this time has been the robots. They've always been hard to use. You need a roboticist to set up a robot. And that is a barrier to entry that nobody has ever found acceptable. Modification to the environment, creating infrastructure, adding lines on the floor, signs on the walls, all of these things were just too much for people to take on for autonomous mobile robots. So we're convinced that the solution to that problem is accessibility. And so that means technological accessibility, meaning people can understand, relate to, and master robotics technology. It means financial accessibility. So not only is the robot itself affordable, but the cost of implementing it is also affordable. And the repercussions and the follow-on changes that you have to make aren't prohibitively expensive. So we bake all this into what we call the Bobby First design philosophy. Bobby's this shipping and receiving clerk. He's been with the company for 15 years, loves the company loves him. He loves his job, he's proud of it, he should be. And his company also needs to grow. They've had a for hire sign in the window for 3 years. It's too difficult to find help and too difficult to keep help. But it's also too difficult to completely disrupt their operation to implement an autonomous mobile robot. So the Bobby First philosophy is what we say to each other at Waypoint Robotics when we're talking about developing our system. Would it work for Bobby? You know, if I walk into this place and put it in front of Bobby, is Bobby going to be able to put it to work? And so that's our guiding principle. Our objective is to have an autonomous mobile robot that can show up on your dock in a crate, and in 30 minutes or less, it can be autonomously navigating around your building all by itself and implemented by you or Bobby or anybody else. Vector is our flagship product. It's an omnidirectional, fully autonomous mobile robot. It's a great piece of machinery. In robotics terms, it's a Ferrari. But for all of the time that it's been in development, it was a Ferrari with no steering wheel and no door handle. You had to be a robotics expert to make it work. And so the work we've been doing for the last year, which is how long Waypoint's been in business. We are a startup that's dedicated to taking this easy-to-use robotics technology to market. We created the dispatcher system, and dispatcher is the door handle on the Ferrari. You have to start with an autonomous mobile robot that you can count on to do what it's supposed to do. It has to reliably make maps, it has to reliably navigate, it has to reliably carry things from point A to point B, and you have to have reliable accessories around you so that all of the worries and complications of robotics are dealt with by the technology. And once you have that baseline, then at that point, you can start to make everything easier. This is some time-lapse footage of our robot autonomously navigating at a trade show. This guy's kicking it, trying to, seeing how well it navigates. It's doing this totally on its own. So Dispatcher is software as a service. It's a freemium model. The first tier is free. That's what you need to set up and use your robot. The next tiers offer additional capabilities that are applicable to people who have different levels of needs in their company. We also make a product called Whistle, and Whistle is like an elevator interface for your robot. There's a big button that says come here, and just like an elevator, if you push that button, a robot shows up. And if you want to put a box on the back of the robot and you push another button, it goes where you told it, and it's that simple. I don't know how to make anything easier than that talk, right? This is about our team. I'll show it to you later if you want. We are all career robotics experts. Met through some pretty name brand companies. And thanks. That's our robot. So it doesn't usually come with a table. We just thought it would be cute. Does anybody have questions? That's how easy it is to use. Everybody already understands it. Yes? Great question. So the question is, when you say that you want it to go from one place to another, how do you tell it how to get there? The way the system works is, when you get it out of the box, you drive it around like a remote control car with a gamepad that everybody's familiar with, and you create a map of the building. You save the map, and Dispatcher guides you through this process. You save that map, and then it asks you if you want to create waypoints. And each waypoint is a place where the robot stops. So you put down those waypoints, all the places you want it to stop, and it couldn't be easier. You park it where you want it to stop, you mark it on the map, you give it a name, and you're done. You drive to the next one. The next thing Dispatcher will ask you is, do you want to navigate? And the answer is yes, because you're going to bought it, right? So after that, you can program a playlist of waypoints, and you can have it repeat that playlist of waypoints all day long. You can schedule different waypoints. You can have conditional responses, so maybe one waypoint, it waits for somebody to tell it to go, or maybe it waits for 20 minutes, however you want to do it. And with the Whistle, it's much more interactive, and you have direct control over the robot, but it's completely common sense control. But the key thing is, all you have to do is tell it where you want to go. If you want your buddy to take something from A to B, you don't tell them each step to take and each corner to turn. You just say, go to the mailroom, and they know how to do that. So does our robot. Yes?
So is this in production already? And if yes, what industry is being used the most?
So the question is it in production? Absolutely. We sold a bunch of them last year, and we're selling them now. The next question is the one best answered over beers. What industry are we targeting? So we're going after small to mid-sized manufacturers because it's an easy thing to describe. But the truth is, we have one customer who is an industrial cricket farmer, and they use our robots to feed and water their crickets. We have another customer who's a big aerospace company that you've all heard of, and they put a robotic arm on top of the robot, and they won't tell us exactly what they're doing with it. We have a tier 1 automotive manufacturer that's implemented a custom elevator on top of the system to interface with other machines. So the funnest part of my job is picking up the phone every week and learning about what awesome new idea people have come up with for an autonomous mobile robot. And that's really what we want to serve. There's a lot of applications that need autonomous mobility, and they need it to be easy. And that's what we provide, ease of use.